All right. Trinidad is here, Manchester, Tampa, Florida, London, Turkey, Croydon, Lagos. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, last week we actually had a really fantastic, fascinating week. And we're gonna check out some of those trades that we're in, and what are the thoughts that we had there. St. Lucia, welcome. What's the thought process behind all of that? And then we'll take it from there. So let's switch over now to our chart, and let's see what's been cracking last week. Now, we've been always, based on what is happening fundamentally in the market, we've been of the view that the US dollar is going to get stronger. Right? We held that bias for a little while, even though the markets was consolidating slightly. All right. Even though the markets was consolidating slightly, but then eventually we saw that the US got stronger later on in the week last week, and here we saw that we had a nice trade on the GBP USD. I think it actually missed the entry by a few pips. Like this candle right here, because when we were looking at it, it was this day, and we're saying, all right, it dropped off a little bit, and we're saying let it pull back to this zone before it drops off. But that's fine, because we were still able to catch Euro USD. Okay, hit take profit target 2 there. Beautiful move over 130 pips. Hit TP1, TP2. And we should definitely keep an eye on this euro, because there's a lot of rhetoric and talk that there could potentially be some escalation. Right? There could potentially be some more escalation of that Russia war in Ukraine, and that's definitely going to have an effect. That's definitely going to have an effect on this euro. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that, because we could potentially see euro dropping off even further. Now the euro USD got to below 1:1. So basically it was, at this price, it was €1 for 1 US. And then it got even worse, right? It was less than 1 US for 1 euro, which is quite remarkable, to be honest. And there's potential for it to just head all the way back down there again. But again, we've got to follow what's happening in the markets, fundamentally what's happening, so that we understand where the investors are feeling more likely to put their money. Okay. And all we're doing is following the investors and where they're putting their money. That's all trading really is. Okay. And we get a sense of that by doing our fundamental studies. So Euro USD, I'm still pretty biased for it to fall off a bit more. But the US did strengthen up quite a lot. If anybody would have missed that move, right, potentially I'm looking for it to pull back, right, to our command contour levels here. Right, we'll have another command contour level here, and also we could see this pink fair price level, or another command contour level up here. So let's create a zone in here. All right, let's create that as a zone. right? And we look for price to pull back up in here before we continue any sort of ideas for selling this off, probably even further, go to a bigger time frame. Right, probably even further down this area down here, right? So watch this space for this euro USD, because I'm seeing potential for some more downside, right? I'm seeing some potential for some more downside here. So I'll just share that with you guys in the chat. Two seconds. Let's make it a bit comprehensive. Put in some TPs there. Okay. So that's our Euro USD. We also have another potential on this Euro CAD. We've been eyeing this up for a little bit. It hasn't really taken off yet, and that's just because the CAD was experiencing a little bit of difficulty last week, but we're in here, right? We're in here, and it's just about started to take off. Now, we did catch a Euro CAD up here. So if you got in from up here, yeah, and you're still holding, well done. I'm still in from up here, so I'm holding that. But this Euro CAD as well is looking like potential for a nice drop off there. So keep an eye on that one. Because I believe that the CAD may well and truly strengthen up. Now, this week is non-farm payroll, I believe. All right. Okay. So it's not this week. No. So it will be next week. Right. So sometimes that happens where the non-farm payroll wouldn't come out on the first week of the month. It will come on the second week. And in this case, that's what's going to happen. So non-farm payroll will be next week for the US dollar. But let's see what else is coming up. So there is some US news coming up tomorrow. Nothing that I would say is major. Then there is some the PMI for Australia will be interesting. CPI for Australia will be interesting on Wednesday. So keep an eye on that one. Okay. And that's gonna throw some sparks into the works for the Australian dollar. And then Wednesday is this mega news for the euro. Okay, so potentially we could really start seeing some sort of movement happening on the Euro USD, the Euro CAD on Wednesday. Okay. And Thursday as well, because there's CPI as well on Thursday. Okay, so the big currency that is featuring this week is the euro. Okay, so I would say do as much research as you possibly can on the euro currency, and also depending on which one you're going to play it against, whether it's the US or whether it's the CAD, do as much research as you can on the CAD currency as well. And what is going to be driving that, and let's see what you come up with. JPY, Euro JPY may be a potential as well. Let's have a look at that. Now, right, okay. So the JPY currency had been getting very weak, and we discussed why that had been getting weak in the command control community, mood swing community. We discussed why that is getting weak. And in fact, the JPY potentially is gonna potentially continue to get continue being weak for now, at least for now, right? Unless the Japanese adjust their interest rates, probably won't see much action in terms of strength on the Japanese yen at all. Let's look at the indices, US 30. So yeah, fell out of the sky. And is back down in a zone here. And if the US is getting stronger, then we know what moves we should expect on these indices. Right? So I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything here. We've got some key and significant levels that this US 30 is at the moment. Right? So, support and resistance kind of comes into play here because somebody's going to be looking at that. But support and resistance is not what we're going to use to be able to come up with a trading idea. All right. We don't come up with a trading idea based on support and resistance. But it's just a key pricing level to have in mind. Right? NAS, all right, NAS, we caught that one really nice for the sell. NAS 100. Okay, so that came up into the zone quite nicely here. Boom. And it tapped off and then came back. And is dropping. Expected to drop a little bit further. Okay, again, dropping to a key price level. Here, support and resistance on the daily. Okay. So I'm expecting that to just continue dropping off. SPX will be very similar to NAS. All right. So yeah, that was our zone. And again, we had a nice little drop, pullback. And then we're hitting take profit target 1 here. I'm expecting it to continue pushing down. All right. So I'm not going to do anything else here, but let that trade play out. We were looking at US oil, right? And we did find some information to tell us or to give us an inclination that that oil should be pushing to the upside. And this was on Friday when we were on session. And when I was telling everybody to buy, oil price was actually falling. It was falling, but it came down into a zone here. You could see we actually had a command contour level here, fair price level. So you see how beautiful it comes into that, either command contour level or the fair price level. It will tap into, like here, it tapped into the command contour level and then dropped, right? Because of course there was reason for it to fall. Now, where we saw reason for it to rise, it came down into the command contour fair price level right there. And then we decided, hey, we should be buying this thing based on what is happening fundamentally in the market, which, right, we did our research. And Yeah, which we did our research, and then we said, all right, boom, we're in here. So I'm still biased for that. Right, this was the trade, still in that trade, holding on to it. Looking for it to actually come back to these highs. Now, if you notice, this US oil has actually been ranging for quite some months. Right, it has been ranging in between this range right here. So from December, really, well, November, December, till now, it's just been in a range. So, right, I'll just target these highs right here. And then we'll see whether it breaks out of that range or not. But for now, just to the upside, right to these highs right here. Oh yeah, we'll come to GBP CAD. That was a nice trade setup there as well. All right. We'll come to that. So GBP CAD, we actually caught it way up here. Right. So the initial setup. Let me see if I could find this initial setup here. There we go. Let me just share that. So this was our trade setup in our trade setups group. So we sent that out to sell GBP CAD at this level. So that was the initial trade. Okay. And we got in there. It hit take profit target 1, right? It was way up here. It hit take profit target 1. Then it kind of danced around a little bit on Thursday and Friday. It was up and down like a yo-yo. But as I said, on Friday, we're still looking for a sell, and so said, so done. It dropped off. It came back up. It did come pretty close to Friday's stop loss, but this is why when we have a setup, this initial setup is just way better than this one. And that's why it's important to kind of hold on to those trades to be able to catch as much pips as you can. But anyways, we're in profit on this second entry. So that's 50 pips, 60 pips, over 60 pips in profit. I'm expecting it to continue falling here. We may get a little bit of a reaction on this GBP CAD at this level. Okay. And that is just simply because we have what we would consider a supply demand zone right here because of this sharp move to the upside. There are some people who probably have been trapped in this trade for a little bit. So I'm expecting some sort of reaction right here as this price comes back down. But that's more of a technical reaction than a fundamental one. So I wouldn't put any major weight on it. But there we go. Right. So similar to, let me show you here. Right. Similar to here. Right here where we had a big sharp move to the upside. Oh. All right. So we had a big sharp move to the upside here. And then when price got back down into that area, we had a reaction to the upside. See? And look here again. Right. We had a big sharp move to the upside here. But when price came back down into that area, we had a move. Okay. So don't ignore these levels. Okay, don't ignore those levels at all. So that's why I'm thinking that we're gonna get a reaction to the upside here. Look, same thing happened here. Big sharp move to the upside here. Okay. Right, when price came back down into that zone, right back into this fair price level, had a reaction. Big sharp move to the upside here, and we've seen it over and over and over again. Over and over again. Big sharp move to the upside, price comes back into that, then pushes up. So always take note of those types of moves. All right, another big winner that we had last week. And let me see if I could find this. Okay, that's gone. But another big winner that we had last week was gold. Okay. Okay, so that was our entry on gold here. There was a earlier trade for gold for sell up in this level, but if you missed that, then we got back in a bit further down that way. Is already over 100 or 200, right? So 260 pips in profit on gold. Right, and we will simply continue to monitor what's happening with the US dollar so that we could get in on gold for whatever direction. We at a significant and key price level here, so we're just gonna keep that, keep this level, eyeball this level. So again, I wouldn't want to jump in here at all. I wouldn't want to do anything just yet. I'm just gonna keep this as potential. We already have our trade on. We already have our targets in. I know several people would have taken some partial profits here, leaving some to run, stop loss in profit. So there we go. All right. See how beautiful price came up to command contour level here and dropped off. All right. So it's just respecting the levels beautifully. Right. So for this week, I would really focus quite a lot on the euro. Right. So we'll be doing some research on the euro. I would also be doing some research on oil. And I suggest that you do the same. Right. Some research on oil, also on the Canadian dollar and the Japanese yen. Right. Those currencies should be able to give you some nice movement this coming week. We looked at GBP USD already, right? GBP USD, we looked at that already. We were looking for a sell-off here. Again, when the pound is getting a little bit of strain at the moment, Mr. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, is trying to get a bit of a Brexit deal going, and they're having a little bit of a pushback with some of his MPs and also with Ireland. And this is the Brexit deal to do with the border in Ireland. So that is putting a little bit of strain on the UK at the moment. We also actually looked at AUD USD for a sell. Yep. Yeah. Beautiful move. It was. Beautiful move it was. Caught AUD USD real sweet. Right. Came up into the zone, dropped off. That was 60 pips and then is over 90 pips in profit. And again, I'm looking for that to continue to the downside. I think we caught NZD USD. It may have missed our entry by a few pips, but I mean, yeah, it missed our entry by a few pips. But remember, that was an old entry that we were looking at. But during the week, you see how price came up to our these command contour levels here. So once you have the command contour, you could adjust your levels to suit, right? Could adjust your levels to suit, and had several opportunities here actually. Quite a lot of sideways movement, but eventually it broke out to the downside on Friday, right? And that's just because the US got stronger. Now, somebody is asking to look at Euro AUD. So at the moment, the Euro, the AUD is getting weaker. Right? So as I said, the AUD is getting weaker. See that? All right, so this was a very, very old trade, an old trade setup that we, that we looked at. Oh yeah, so this was an old trade setup, but the AUD was getting weak, so this is why the Euro AUD had been pushing up like that. And again, you see in price came right back to command control level here and continued pushing to the upside. So once we get a sense of which currency is strong, which currency is weak, we just play one against the next. That's how. All right, we just play one against the next. That's how it all works. That is what we call economic divergence. That's the divergence that we're looking for. We're not looking for any sort of divergence with RSI or divergence with stochastic or divergence with any of those other type of tools. We're looking for divergence in terms of economy. Is an economy doing weak? Is an economy doing strong? Which economy is doing strong? Which economy is doing weak? And once we have that, then we pair them up against each other. We come to our command control levels. We look for entry levels to get in. And then we already would have had a bias of what direction the market is going to go before we even come onto the chart. And that is how we've got to trade. You can't look at a chart and expect to come up with a directional bias. A directional bias is ascertained before you even look at a chart, and we do that based on studying what is happening in individual economies fundamentally. That's how we do it. Okay. So Euro AUD, looking for a continuation to the upside. We'll probably see a little bit of a pullback here. Let me just clear this off. All right. Probably see a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation to the upside. We do have some AUD news. So keep that in mind as well. And that's CPI as well. So that could have a massive effect on that Euro AUD and any of the AUD pairs whatsoever. That could have a massive effect on this. So keep that in mind. Okay. And with that said, I mean, something like CAD JPY as well, CAD JPY, that should have been pushing up because the JPY is weak, and CAD is just about starting to get some strength. Yeah, there we go. Right, so JPY is weak, CAD just about starting to get some strength. So we see that CAD JPY pushing up. Now, again, we've got the indexes here. So the indexes kind of give us a little bit of a feel as to what's happening. NZD USD, or the NZD index, we could see that the NZD is actually dropping off. If I go on the daily, we could see that the New Zealand dollar has been experiencing a little bit of some weakness since the turn of the end of January, coming all the way through. So, you know, that's weakness in that NZD. Now, let's look at a different index. Let's say, for example, USD, for example. Okay, so we could see here on the US, from the beginning of February, it's been getting stronger. So that NZD USD, that was a beautiful trade. In fact, we actually looked at that for a selling opportunity some time back. It did dance around a little bit, but there we go, right? So that's the opportunities that you're looking for. That's economic divergence right here, where the NZD is weak here, and the US strong here. That's a beautiful trade. And if we go to the NZD USD, then we would see that that would have been falling off from probably the beginning of February, right here. See, there we go. 1st of February has been falling off, right? Beautiful, beautiful moves to the downside. If we caught it all, that would have been, I think, over, that looks like over 3,000. Is that 3,000 pips? Or 300, yeah, 300, over 300 pips on that one. Right, so those are the types of moves that we want to gauge and look at. This, the AUD had been getting weak again from the end of January. Pair that up against the US and you're laughing all the way to the bank. All right, we'll see what this Canadian is doing, but for me, I think this Canadian is actually going to start getting stronger, right? For me, I believe that this Canadian is starting getting stronger. And look at this though. This Canadian, it actually has some room. Look at this. It has some room to run to the upside. So definitely pay attention to that Canadian, because that Canadian could be a really nice trade against all those other currencies, especially that Euro Canadian I was showing you earlier. I think we could have some potential here. So, and this is the daily time frame as well. So when we see in higher lows on the daily, right? Higher highs on the daily, then we're starting to see, hey, hold on a minute, we're getting a trend to the upside here, right? And it's starting to form quite beautifully after all of this consolidation. So, you know, this is some serious potential on those Canadian pairs. Okay, serious potential on those Canadian pairs. So pay attention to that Euro CAD. I think that could be a really good one. Again, you got to be really patient. Okay, you got to be very, very patient. Patience is the key, and managing your risks appropriately is the key as well. Okay, we can't go crazy in our trading, right? Remember that trading is to grow your money over a period of time. Trading is not for monthly income or to pay monthly expenses. That's not what trading is for. If you approach trading like that, then you'll find it very, very difficult to achieve your goals in a long term. Okay. You need to have some sort of income from somewhere else that will be able to feed into your trading. Okay. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up there for the minute, and I will see you guys on the inside for our New York session, and we'll do some fundamental analysis, and we'll start sharing. We'll continue to be sharing all our excuse me, our sentimental analysis right here. So we keep sharing our sentimental analysis in here, so we get an idea of what's happening with, say, for example, the oil. We get an example of what is happening with all those other currencies right here. Okay, and this is exclusive to the Mood Swing Command Contour community. So if you want to be a part of the action, you could get involved and you could get started. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, www.commandcontour.com. All right, and there we go. Oh, sorry. Boom. All right. Commandcontour.com. You could get yourself started here. Oh, discount code 20% off. right, is CBG. CBG. That's your discount code right there. 20% off. All right. Right, great. So I will see you guys really, really soon. We're gonna have another beautiful week, as somebody is saying. Really nice moves last week. We will get cracking tomorrow in the New York session. We'll send the link out. All right. Have a great one, and we'll see you pretty soon. Bye-bye for now.